and I keep sending them out. For those 2 or 3 people that can't open the files or have a problem, get a hold of webinar.com or send me a thumb drive, snail mail, and I will put the files on a thumb drive. Some of the people have had to do that for various reasons as to why your computers will not open up and listen and view the files. We have about 3 or 4 people that do that. And they send me their thumb drives, and I copy the files onto their thumb drives and send it back. But most of you should be able to get the recordings, and most of you have validated. I should be up to date on everything that went out. But for technical reasons why you can't open it or something's going on, you need to speak to webinar.com or send big files. Transfer big files. Those of you that can't find the files, make sure that you check your emails for transfer big file download link. And that's how the files are gotten to you. If I've missed any of you, kindly let me know and we will take care of it. Every week I have some people that I resend to 3 or 4 times. But we will work through it so that you get what you've paid for. Go ahead, Jean. Oh, one more tidbit notice here. The 127-page document that I thought was on the attachment list last week actually was not on the attachment list. I have located it on my computer, and it will go out with this week's webinar recordings. Take it away, Jean.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I want to remind you again, people are sending money orders and checks to Maria. Do not do that. This is the 3rd or 4th time that I brought this to your attention. Do not send money to her. If I don't know that you've paid, you can't get into the class. So you need to send it to me because she checks with me. You need to send the money. If you don't have my address, I'll give it to you. It's 3051 Los, Losrobles Road. That's in Thousand Oaks, California. And the zip is 91362. If you want to call me, you can reach me at 805-870-4484. But don't send any money to her. Either use PayPal or send it to me directly at my address that I just gave you. My PayPal account is michnowskitom@yahoo.com, and that's spelled MICHNOWSKITOM@yahoo.com. If you want to pay by PayPal, you have to set up a PayPal account. That's the only way you can do it. Otherwise, you got to send checks or money orders. But it's a lot simpler to use PayPal because the mail takes 2 or 3 days to get here. So you need to set up a PayPal account. It's a lot easier to do it that way, and there's less confusion. It doesn't take up a lot of time. Okay, what we're going to talk about tonight is egg lanes. I'm going to go over first we're going to go into before I go into the lane chart, we're going to go into the Uniform Commercial Code 9-102. It tells you what an agricultural lien is. An ag lien is a lien interest. It's not a security interest. I'm going to go over the different sections. Okay, can you see my screen, Maria?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and read what an agricultural lien is. This is 9-102, subsection 5 of Article 9 of the Uniform Commercial Codes.
An agricultural lien means an interest other than a security interest in farm products, which secures payment or performance of an obligation for goods or services furnished in connection with a debtor's farming operation, or rent on real property leased by a debtor in connection with its farming operation, which is created by statute in favor of a person that, in the ordinary course of its business, furnished goods or services to a debtor in connection with a debtor's farming operation, or leased real property to a debtor in connection with the debtor's farming operation, whose effectiveness does not depend on the person's possession of the personal property.
Okay, you'll notice that it says it does two things. It secures payment or performance of an obligation for goods. Okay, I'm going to click on goods so you can see what goods are. Okay, read what goods are.
Okay. Goods means all things that are movable when a security interest attaches. The term includes fixtures, standing timber that is to be cut and removed under a conveyance or contract for sale, the unborn young of animals, crops growing or to be grown, even if the crops are produced on trees, vines, or bushes, and manufactured homes. The term also includes a computer program embedded in goods and any supporting information provided in connection with a transaction relating to the program if, 1, the program is associated with the goods in such a manner that it customarily is considered part of the goods, or 2, by becoming the owner of the goods, a person acquires a right to use the program in connection with the goods. The term does not include a computer program embedded in goods that consist solely out of the medium in which the program is embedded. The term also does not include accounts, chattel paper, commercial tort claims, deposit accounts, documents, general intangibles, instruments, investment property, letter of credit rights, letters of credit, money, or oil, gas, or other minerals before extraction.
So you get a good idea what goods are. Now, goods come from farm products. So we're going to go up here and read what farm products are. Okay, read what farm products means. 9-102, subsection 34.
Okay. Farm products means goods other than standing timber with respect to which the debtor is engaged in a farming operation, and which are crops growing, or to be grown, including crops produced on trees, vines, and bushes, aquatic goods produced in aquacultural operations, livestock, born or unborn, including aquatic goods produced in aquacultural operations, supplies used or produced in a farming operation, products of crops or livestock in their unmanufactured states.
Okay, so livestock. What is livestock? Livestock, you are livestock. and you are farm products, and you are, in fact, they have a insurance policy, risk management has a insurance policy on you under the RMA, under the Department of Agriculture. In 1970, they amended the Agricultural Act to include risk management. And you are considered cattle or chattel, which is where the word comes from, the word catel, C-A-T-E-L, which means property. You're considered property. And once the lien has been perfected, it's in default. And when it's in default, it can be foreclosed on by any judicial or non-judicial process. See, if you read this, read 9-606.
Time of default for agricultural lien. For purposes of this part, a default occurs in connection with an agricultural lien at the time the secured party becomes entitled to enforce the lien in accordance with the statute under which it was created. We have a question here, Gene.
Okay.
Let me get to the, what is our status when filing for the Treasury Direct account? They list U.S. individuals. Should we be claiming we are the principal and owner on the letter from the 0-year account?
Yes.
Okay, repeat your phone number, please.
805-870-4484.
Okay. My address on the thumb drive is on the informational letter. Send me an email and I'll forward it back to you. So is Gene's address, and Gene's phone number is on that also. Have you finished the end all foreclosure letter yet?
No, still working on it.
What about the Emergency Farm Mortgage Act of 1935?
Well, that's what this is based on.
Okay.
It's called the Agricultural Adjustment Act. That was passed May 12th, 1933. Public Law 7310. That was passed before HJR 192 was passed.
Agricultural Adjustment what?
It's called the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1938. What they did is they passed it May 12th, 1933, and then they repealed it, then they reenacted it. But they put everything under the Department of Agriculture.
Okay, how do you prove that we are livestock, black and white, please?
How do you prove that we are are livestock?
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Are mortgages ever re-remicked? And would that be securities fraud? If it's discharged and then a new servicer company comes along.
You can go on the internet. Okay, this is, you can see my screen. It's called the Human Capital Performance Fund. You are human capital, which comes from the word caputa. If you want documentation for it, I will show you. This is the Human Capital Fund.
The purpose of this chapter is to promote, through the creation of a human capital performance fund, greater performance in the federal government. Monies from the fund will be used to reward agencies' highest performing and most valuable employees. This fund will offer federal managers a new tool to recognize employees' performance that is critical to the achievement of agency missions. My word.
Okay. Who is the head of the Human Capital Fund? Write this down. Has everybody got this? I don't want you asking me to document. I'm going to prove to you. Can you read this?
Where? What am I reading?
Right
Jacqueline F. Whitaker.
Read it.
Jacqueline J. Whitaker, Human Resources Director, Farm and Foreign. Grant proposals for the National Science Foundation to fund initiatives per year to delivering the first IRS Human Capital Strategic Plan. Oh my gosh.
Huh?
Wait, we got to write this down. Hold on. Don't dump it off. Wait a minute. Go back.
I didn't dump it off.
Wait a minute. I got to find where you bumped it to.
Here's the IRS is the head. See, you read this. Deputy IRS Human Capital Officer for Client Services.
Okay, but that was Jacqueline Whitaker, right?
Yeah, Jacqueline Whitaker. You want me to bring it back up again?
Yeah, because we didn't quite get a chance to write it down.
Okay, there it is.
Where? Put your mouse on it.
It's right
Jacqueline F. Whitaker.
J. Jacqueline J.
Whitaker, Human Resources Director. Okay. Wow.
So the IRS is the head. They have a deputy and head human capital fund. Okay? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
And here's the IRS manual. If you want to go in there, we'll go in there and look at it.
IRS manual.
The IRS service what?
Revenue service. Collects the revenue that funds.
They fund the human. You're funding the human capital fund, and that's what the IRS collects, and that comes from the birth certificate.
My goodness. Well, that sure puts it out there. I don't understand your question, Jack. IRS and DOL, it's not making any sense.
Here's the manual on it. You can download this manual. I'll download it. I'll send it to Maria here. You guys can download this.
What's it under?
Well, it's under human capital.
Okay.
Tells you right here. Internal Revenue Manual.
1.17?
1.1.7, Appeals. Serves as a liaison between appeals managers and the IRS Human Capital Office.
Okay, that's at irs.gov. I can't quite read it. FRM.
It's /
FRM
part 1 / IRM, which means Internal Revenue Manual.
Okay, wait a minute. Part 1.1
/001 -007.html. All you have to do is type in IRS Head of Human Capital Fund, and it'll bring this up. You do it in Google, though.
Okay, we have someone here that's talking about your 22-page memorandum of law. We'll bring that back a little later in the show. I'm making some notes here.
Okay, you got all this?
I've got that one, so.
Okay, I'm going to show you something. For some reason, I'm having trouble getting on.
Okay, let's continue with, we're getting through these tax liens before I bring back some more of these questions. It kind of seems like we're jumping all over. I just kind of bring the questions forward as we get a little break here of what you're getting into. We went into the etymology dictionary probably about 3 weeks ago, Gene.
Well, we're going in there again. You asked me to document that we're human capital or cattle. I'm going to do it. Okay, what is this? Okay, read that, what that says.
Capital. Early 13th century, from El Capitalis, of the head, hence capital chief first. From caput, C-A-P-U-T, head. A capital crime is one that affects the life or head. Capital had a sense of deadly mortal, from late 14th century in English, a sense also found in Latin. The connection between head and life mortality also existed in OE, whatever that is. He for guilt, deadly sin, capital offense. Hefdes, Polion, to forfeit life, capital punishment, was in Blackstone 1765. Capital gain is recorded from 1921. Capital goods is recorded from 1899. Of ships, first rate of the line, attested from 1650s, related capitally.
Okay, so who does head count? The Bureau of Census.
Census.
Who does head count in jail?
The warden.
Who does in the penitentiary or prison? Who does head count?
Well, that's the warden, isn't it?
Okay, so what do they do? What are they counting?
Every head they got in there, every human body.
For what purpose?
They get paid on every person.
Because why? What does this say? You just read it.
For life and mortality.
No. What does the word head mean?
Capital.
Yeah. When you count cattle, what are you counting? How do you count them?
You count them by the head, the number of cow heads.
Well.
So if you got a head on you and you're in jail, or you're a human, or the census goes around and counts how many heads are in a house, the head is the capital.
Right. Or it comes from the word cattle. What does that say right there? Cattle. Read it.
Mid-13th century, from Anglo-France, cattel, property. From ML, capital, capitale, property, stock, neuter of Latin, adjective, capitalis, principal, chief, from caput, caput, head, general, capitis, head, sense, development of fee, pecuniary. Original sense was a moving property, especially livestock, not limited to cows until 1550s.
So prior to 1550, people were referred to as livestock or cattle or property, and they were counted by head. And they're still doing it today. Only the people are too dumb to realize it.
It's the movable head, which is the people's bodies.
Everybody satisfied, or you want more proof?
The questions are going in a completely different realm. The headstones.
Yeah, why did they call them headstones?
The Georgia headstones are just another distraction. I think we've all got the idea on this.
Okay, so now you satisfied that you're livestock?
So what's our remedy to alter that status other than to go in and redeem everything they give you. If it's got a dollar sign on it, redeem it in lawful money. If it's not got a dollar sign on it, you conditionally accept it upon proof of claim.
No, you got to have an agriculture. What do cattle come under? They come under agriculture.
So what we need to do is update our status with an agricultural lien against ourselves.
No, against your birth certificate, which is a product contract lien.
Okay, so we have to learn how to do an agricultural lien and charge it against our birth certificate.
No, against the birth application, which is a product contract lien.
So it's a product contract lien?
That's what it is.
And that's the number that they have put on the birth certificate is the number of the application?
That's what it is.
Okay, are you going to supply some templates or an example?
Well, let's finish with this. You're going to know what you're doing before you go out there. All you guys want to do is file paperwork. Then you get in trouble and you come crying, man, they won't accept it. You got to know what you're doing before you're doing it and why you're doing it. See, they even give you here's a financing statement. They even give you a financing statement.
For the agricultural lien.
You got to know what you're doing before you do this. You can't just go in there and start filing liens. If you read this, 9-606, finish reading this.
Time
Read 9-606.
Time for default for agricultural lien, 9-606. For purposes of this part, a default occurs in connection with an agricultural lien at the time the secured party becomes entitled to enforce the lien in accordance with the statute under which it was created. Put that in kindergarten language.
Well, it comes under the statute. It's a statutory lien. We're going to show you the statutes that give you the right to use a lien. But you got to, we're going through this first. You guys are always in a big hurry to get everything done.
Well, a lot of people are on the hot seat. You got to do something.
Read that, 607.
Okay, 9-607, collection and enforcement by secured party. If so agreed, and in the event after default, a secured party may notify an account holder or other person obligated on collateral.
No, it doesn't say holder. Go back and read it.
May notify an account debtor or other person obligated on collateral to make payment or otherwise render performance to or for the benefit of the secured party. May take any proceeds to which the secured party is entitled under Section 9(3)15. May enforce the obligations of an account debtor or other person obligated on collateral and exercise the rights of the debtor with respect to the obligation of the account debtor or other person obligated on collateral to make payment or otherwise render performance to the debtor, and with respect to any property that secures the obligations of the account debtor or other person obligated on the collateral. 4. If it holds a security interest in a deposit account perfected by control under Section 9104A, 1, may apply the balance of the deposit account to the obligation by the deposit account, to the obligation secured by the deposit account. And 5, if it holds a security interest in a deposit account perfected by control under Section 9-104A, 2, or 3, may instruct the bank to pay the balance of the deposit account to or for the benefit of the secured party. Now, restate that.
Well, you got to have a security interest or a lien interest in order to get enforcement.
And that's not just a UCC 1.
That's what gives you you got to put an ag lien on there, a statutory lien. You got to use an ag lien. An ag lien is not a security interest, it's a lien interest.
So if you have a 1 in place, you would just add that under a UCC 3?
We're not going into that yet. We're just laying the groundwork. Quit jumping ahead.
Okay.
So you can enforce these through any judicial or non-judicial. Read B.
B, non-judicial enforcement of mortgage. If necessary to enable a secured party to exercise under subsection A3 the right of a debtor to enforce a mortgage non-judicially, the secured party may record in the office in which a record of the mortgage is recorded, 1, a copy of the security agreement that creates or provides for a security interest in the obligation secured by the mortgage, and 2, the secured party sworn affidavit in recordable form stating that A default has occurred, and B, the secured party is entitled to enforce the mortgage non-judicially.
Dave, wasn't the loan in default at closing?
Yes.
Because they didn't transfer the funds to the REMIC?
So right after that, all you got to do is file the security agreement with an affidavit that default has occurred.
Yeah. And you become the secured party entitled to enforce the mortgage non-judicially. You got that?
Yep.
Okay, finish reading. Did you read B?
Judicial and non-judicial process. Subsection B. A secured party may proceed under subsection A, 1, pursuant to judicial process, or 2, without judicial process if it proceeds without breach of the peace. How do you proceed without breach of the peace to get someone out of your property that doesn't belong there?
Well, let's do one thing at a time. We're not getting sidetracked. We're just laying the groundwork for a lien.
Okay.
So does everybody understand that?
I'm not looking at the questions at the present moment.
So you got any questions?
Nothing on the question board pertaining to that. They want to know how to do the UCC 1.
You do it just like you do a secured party, except it's an ag lien. You put in your name up here, your name and address, send acknowledgement to. Then whoever you have the lien interest on, you put the debtor's full name right here.
Explain what that would be if that was the debtor's lien interest would be your straw man?
No.
Or would be the mortgage company?
It would be the mortgage company. You got to get this straw man shit out of your head. That doesn't have anything to do with that.
I know. I'm just being devil's advocate.
You got to quit listening to all this nonsense that these other patriots are putting out. You put your name down here where it says secured party's name. You put your name and your address in there.
What number is that? It's not too clear.
It's number 3.
3. That's me, and that would be a secured party, upper and lowercase. Doesn't matter if it's uppercase, lowercase.
Lower, uppercase. Put the uppercase name there. That's who took out the loan, isn't it?
That's not making any sense.
Whose name is on the loan papers? You can read, can't you?
My name.
It's all in uppercase letters, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Well, it is. Go look at your loan papers.
Nope. Mine's in upper and lowercase.
When you do your lien, you got a box here. It says AG lien.
Where?
Down here. Right
Where?
here. 5, line 5.
Okay.
You check that box.
Okay. Do you have to put anything in the financing statement box?
Yes, you put your collateral in here.
And that's the mortgage description.
Whatever your mortgage is in here. You put that in there and list that in there. I have some actual UCCs that are done on farm property.
Are you gonna give out a couple of examples so the students can?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note. UCC ag lien example.
Right now, we're just going over the financing statement. What you want to do, now this comes out of the National Agricultural Law Center. Where do you live? You live in Washington?
Yes.
Okay, you see this chart?
The United States, you click on Washington?
You click on whatever state you live in.
Yeah.
Here's Washington. You click on it. It says State of Washington.
Okay.
And you go up here. And you blow this up so you can read it. Okay, over in this column, it tells you the type of lien. Then the lien claimant, attached property. It tells you if possession is required, filing required, date when lien attached. You got to put all this. You got to put that in there on your when you do your UCC 1. Depositors lien on agricultural commodities. Those would be cash. That would be the note. The note would be an agricultural commodity. Here's your chattel. Remember the word head means cattle?
Yeah.
Or cattle. Here's a chattel lien. Washington Revised Code. Here's the code section.
Okay. And that's all the information that we put on the UCC 1. Just
That's
off
what
that start.
That's what you put in there to document it. Now here's more. Here's lien for services. Here's crop. Here's processor and prepare liens on agricultural products. What does this say over here? Can you read this?
Wait a minute, I gotta minimize this screen. Okay. In the last column.
Yeah, what does that say?
Subordinate to tax and labor liens. Properly filed lien has priority over all other liens and security interests. License, MC lien not properly filed is subordinate to perfected security interest, and liens that have attached before the processor or prepare lien attaches. You want to put that in some English?
Well, if it's not properly filed, which means it's not perfected, you don't use the proper statute, you don't lien the proper property, or you don't put down the proper lien interest. These are statutory liens, so you got to put the statute down that covers the whatever it is you're liening.
Which is over in the first column.
Which is over in the first column. And this goes down farther. Now see, you got labor liens, orchards, orchard lands, liens for labor and services on timber and lumber. Then you got lien for transport, storage, and advancements.
How would that apply?
Well, doesn't it mean here's transfer eggster and trainer liens? This would be for person who cares for horses, mules, cattle, or sheep belonging to another.
How does that apply to the ordinary person?
Well, aren't you referred to as human capital? Doesn't the word capital mean head?
Yeah.
Doesn't head refer to cattle or chattel?
Yes.
Well, duh.
You know, a person reading this would think, hell, I'm not a sheep or a horse. How does it apply to me? Other than to go back and pull the dictionary from pull the meaning from the dictionary.
This is from the Agricultural Law Center, which is located in Arkansas. There's their phone number. If you want to write it down.
So if
here's how you get to the websites: www.nationalaglawcenter.org. O-R-G. There's a warehouseman. So you have to go into your state statutes. Every state has an agricultural code.
So goods covered by a bill of lading, wouldn't that be all the fixtures on a mortgage?
Yep.
So do we have to follow a separate UCC 1 on each of these column sections, or do you do it all at once?
Well, you can do it all in one.
Okay.
I wanted to show you California has a product contract lien, which is the one
doesn't have one of those.
Huh?
Washington doesn't have one of those.
Yeah, they do. They all do.
Product contract lien, specifically.
Yep. You put out labor, don't you? Here's agricultural labor's lien. Here's a livestock service lien. Person or entity who provides services for another's livestock. Here's an agricultural producer's lien right here. Any item resulting from the processing of a farm product which is in the processor's possession. Here's a livestock seller's lien.
So when you take each of these sections off of these charts for your state and you put it on that box number 4, collateral box.
You put that in there, and what it is that you're leaning.
Can you run off one of these charts and attach it?
Yeah.
And in the box, see attached chart?
Or type it in there.
We'd probably all have to be in a 1 or 2 font to get it all in there.
Well, just retype it. You only got about 5 or 6 words in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got 11 words.
But what I asked you earlier was, can you take all of these boxes on one UCC financing statement? And you said yes. If you would take all the words and all the descriptions, the whole chart.
Well, some of that doesn't apply to you. You obviously, chemicals doesn't apply.
Well, that's what I asked you. You take just the parts that apply.
You take livestock products, cattle. You got bovine tuberculosis. Scarbies. Livestock service lien.
Just about all of them, 1 or 2 that doesn't apply, but most of them do.
I'm going to show you something else. You can go into your state and see which ones apply.
It's not just your birth certificate that applies, it's everything you have in your possession can be listed under these agricultural liens in one way or another, right down to your undershorts.
Yeah, you can name all that stuff. Here it is, Organic Federal Crop Insurance Program. You need this. If you're going to act like a cow, you're going to get treated like one. Now this goes down here. They have a, I'm trying to find a chart. They have a chart here. For some reason it's not pulling it up. what they do is they have a chart. For some reason it's not coming up. Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah. We'll take a couple questions while you're trying to figure that one out. What's the purpose to file a UCC1 lien notice?
To have a lien. Become a secured party creditor.
Okay. Is the Navy the trustee for the United States?
Is the who? What does the Navy got to do with agriculture? You guys need to stay on point.
Okay, some of our questions are not on point. It says, tell Jean it's open in the other tab.
In what other tab?
I don't know. 7 USC section 136 and definitions defines humans as animals. In the web browser.
Okay, here's the report. But this is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is the chart. You can download this and read it, but they have a chart. It shows you all the counties. For some reason it's not coming up. I'll have to try it next week and see if I can get it to come up.
Make a note on that. So that's a chart under Risk Management Agency.
Yeah, it's a livestock protection plan. It divides the county. Wait, maybe I can do it this way. it's not coming up. I don't know why this is not coming
Okay,
up.
we'll look for it. We'll try and look for it next week. It's just not coming up. Where else are we going to go?
So we got, has anybody got any questions?
Questions are all off point on this right now.
So everybody understands what an ag lien is, right?
They want to know, do you put a dollar amount on it?
Yes.
How would you figure the dollar amount?
Well, how much is it worth?
What do you mean?
Well,
Are you talking a mortgage? Are you talking anything other?
yeah, here's another thing you can put on there.
So if it's a mortgage, it's the amount of the mortgage.
You put the amount of the mortgage down.
What if it's does it apply to anything other than a mortgage? Would it apply to any court type cases?
Yes.
And how would you figure the amount?
The bond amount, whatever the amount of the bond is.
Okay, and that bond would be the amount of the criminal charge or the what?
Yeah. The amount of the fine. Amount of the tax.
How about property tax situations?
That's part of it.
Any other examples, types? So it would apply to any judgment of any kind, would it not?
Yes. Court judgments.
Summary judgment, credit card accounts,
Credit
stuff
cards.
like that. Any consumer credit accounts?
Okay, read this.
Okay. What am I reading? Section 348, Title 12, Chapter 3, subsection 1X.
9.
Subsection 9, Section 348. Discount of obligations given for agricultural purposes or based upon livestock collateral security for Federal Reserve notes. Upon the endorsement of any of its member banks, which shall be deemed a waiver of demand notice and protest by such bank as to its own endorsement exclusively, any Federal Reserve Bank may, subject to regulations and limitations to be prescribed by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, discount notes, drafts, and bills of exchange issued or drawn for an agricultural purpose or based upon livestock and having a maturity at the time of discount, exclusive of days of grace not exceeding 9 months, and such notes, drafts, and bills of exchange may be offered as collateral security for the insurance of Federal Reserve notes under the provisions of Section 16 of this Act, provided that notes, drafts, and bills of exchange with maturities in excess of 6 months shall not be eligible as a basis for the issuance of Federal Reserve notes unless secured by warehouse receipts or other such negotiable documents conveying or securing title to readily marketable staple agricultural products or by chattel mortgage upon livestock which is being fattened for market. I'll put that in English.
Well, what does it say? What are agricultural products? Goods.
Everything.
What are goods? Chattel, cattle? Isn't it a chattel mortgage upon livestock?
Yeah.
Well, your livestock.
So that covers just about everything.
Yeah, well, you got you're entitled to proceeds. Doesn't this cover proceeds?
Explain that.
Well, what's the definition of, doesn't that say, what's the definition of proceeds? Here's, we'll go up here and look up proceeds.
Proceeds. Oh, you moved it. Where'd you move it to? I was just going to read it.
Oh, this damn computers.
You got to go back up to P.
There it is. Read it.
Okay, don't move it. Except as used in Section 9609B means the following property. Whatever is acquired upon the sale, lease, license, exchange, or other disposition of collateral. Whatever is collected on or distributed on account of collateral. Rights arising out of collateral. To the extent of the value of collateral, claims arising out of the loss, nonconformity, or interference with the use of, defects, or infringement of rights in or damage to the collateral. To the extent of the value of collateral and to the extent payable to the debtor or the secured party, insurance payable by reason of the loss or nonconformity of, defects or infringement of rights in, or damage to the collateral. Explain that.
Well, what do you want me to explain?
Well, apply it to some things.
Well, what is collateral? What does it say collateral is?
Just about anything.
What do you use for collateral on a loan? What does it say up here? Read this.
Collateral means the property subject to a security interest or agricultural lien. The term includes proceeds to which a security interest attaches, accounts, chattel paper, payment intangibles, and promissory notes that have been paid and that have been sold, and goods that are the subject of a contingent. That covers just about everything.
Well, doesn't it? You can put all that. See all that down there? You can put all that down as an agricultural lien. It says promissory notes. Did you sign a promissory note? Duh.
Right.
Well,
So that is proceeds. So that's the dollar amount that you put on your agricultural lien on your UCC 1 or amendment UCC 3. Right? If you already have a UCC 1 in place.
yes.
How are you coming on getting everybody an example of a proper UCC 1?
I've got one right here on a computer.
Well, you got to get it to us so that way it can be sent out so people can see how to fill it out and not make any mistakes.
Here's one right here. Dale Prickle.
Make it so that we can see the whole thing and take a good screenshot.
Can you see that?
Now I see it, yeah. Let's see if we can get a good screenshot on it. Okay. You have 11 pages on this sucker.
Well, it says 13. There's 13 pages, including.
Oh, it is 13 pages. It's pretty small for me on the screen. Are you going to give that out as an attachment?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that down. UCC 1 attachment. Get it out to me tonight so I can include it in the attachments for this week.
You got to have, when you do this stuff, here's all your collateral down here.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like my security agreement. It goes on forever on that one.
It's got your collateral is listed here. You put your birth certificate in here.
Yeah.
You can attach this, take the collateral part of this, and attach it to your ag lien. This has got a indemnity clause. Fidelity bond. This is your agreement. It's the agreement that gives you the security interest.
Right. That looks like yours and my agreement looks identical.
Yeah, believe me, it isn't.
Well, when I get a copy of yours and I can validate word for word, we'll see what the differences are. Looks pretty close to the one that I did many years ago.
Where did you get it from?
You know, I don't remember. I just know it was very extensive.
This is how you do a security agreement.
So
And
could you not just take...
You got to list all your collateral in there.
So would you not just attach your security agreement to a new, the ag lien? UCC 1 ag lien?
Yeah.
And you would just say in the collateral box, see attached security agreement listing all collateral.
Yeah, you could put, see, like here, investment property.
Mm-hmm.
Means a security, whether it's certificate or security, entitlement, securities, account, commodity contract, or commodity account.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows how to do it.
Well, that's what we're going to get when we give them a good example.
Here's the mortgage. You can put mortgage down. It's 55. $52, lien creditor, investment property, inventory means goods or farm products. Instrument means a negotiable instrument. You know, goods are movables, but goods do not include accounts, payment, tangible, but collateral does. So you got to list these as collateral, not goods.
Here's somebody here that says they found their birth certificate traded through Fidelity. The amount, the stock is over 500 billion. Would I claim the entire amount of the stock in the ag lien?
Sure.
How about pensions confiscated by this guy saying former employer?
Yes.
Here's a definition under USC section 136 defines humans as animals. Animal, the term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man and other mammals, birds, fish, and shellfish.
Where'd you find that?
Let me see. It says here under United States Code section 136 definitions.
Which code? Which title?
USC.
Yeah, but which title? There's 50 titles.
Okay, tell us the title. Okay. Somebody asks, how is Stan doing?
I haven't talked to him in several years.
Can a naturalized certificate be the same as a birth certificate?
Find out which title that definition's in.
I'm coming down to the bottom of the questions. Hopefully it will be there. Where was I? Can you substitute a naturalized certificate for a birth certificate?
No.
Okay. Is it a good idea to establish a trust to put all this in?
No. It's already in a trust.
Can you put a sweat equity mechanics lien on top of an agricultural lien?
Put it in there. Put it in the ag lien.
Put it in the ag lien. Okay, Title 7, Section 163, Gene. D.
Is that where it says?
Definitions under subsection D. Title 7.
That's the agricultural code.
Okay, so does none of this applies to anybody who gets citizenship from the USA?
None of what applies.
Well, I'm just asking you here. Does this work for someone who obtains a citizenship from the USA? In other words, they come from another country to begin with. They're not born here.
Well, it depends on whether you're a citizen or not. If you're not a citizen, it doesn't apply to you, no.
Well, that's why they're asking. Does a green card or a what was it called, a certificate apply?
Did you say 163? 163 has been repealed.
USC Title 7, Section 163D. I don't know what you're asking, student, on this. Does it work for someone who obtains citizenship from the USA? You got to be a little more specific. Just before we quit tonight, Gene, we have several questions on an adverse claim on a criminal case.
Let's address the issue at hand.
Just before we close, we're going to come back to the adverse claim.
163, you said 136 earlier.
Yeah, Title 7, Section 136D.
Are you saying B or D?
D is in dog. Section 136D is in dog. Title 7. Under definitions. So if you're a citizen of the USA, this all works.
There's no definitions even in here. You're in the wrong section.
Here, under agricultural, OPS, OPPS, SECTIOM, 136D. We'll have to look that up and try to get it.
I'm in Title 7, 136D. It says administrative review.
It's under definitions.
Yeah, but there's no definitions in here. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, student that's got this, make sure you get it to me or put it on the attachments for this week. That'll work.
Okay, here's one. Here's definitions.
Go down to D. You got to go up to D. You're in J. You're in F. E, animal. And there, D, animal. The term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man and other mammals, birds, fish, and shellfish.
Well, does that prove it? Does that prove it? Are you satisfied now?
Yeah. Okay, I think we got that. Hope we got a good screenshot of that.
You're an animal. Is that how they treat you?
Got to make it so we become secured party, so we stop them from treating us that way, and we can turn around and treat them as an animal.
Yeah, that's a game two can play, right?
That's right. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Now you know why I don't make shit up.
It's all in their written words.
Including means limited, but not including, but not limited to man.
Now let's go over that a little bit. The term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including, but not limited to. So it includes man and other mammals, birds, fish, and shellfish, but not limited to just those listed.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You know, how long do people stay up at night to create such a maze of junk? It's amazing to me.
Go find out who Cain is. Cain and his descendants. They were doing this in biblical times when Israel was in the desert. Israel was in the desert, and they were bond slaves. What do you think bond slaves are? That's what you are, bond slave.
Thank you for that note that it's in the document section that's going to go out today. I believe we had a question on the board earlier about the 8281. If you're not understanding it, re-listen, reread the transcripts if you transcribed it very carefully. I believe it was 5-7 where we went over the 8281 form and applied it to all the other situations besides a mortgage. Go review it very carefully many times to understand it.
Wonder why that won't go in there.
I have no idea, Gene. It's your computer. Let's move on. You'll have to figure it out and come back to it next week. Okay, now we got another question on the board. We sent out a copy of the Sears letter, folks. It, I believe, was in last week's webinar. So it went out early this week. Look at all of the attachments that went out this week in the 514 webinar for that letter. So I believe it's in there. Okay.
I want to see what animals, what it says about animal. Look at this. Read this.
Animal, but rare before end of the 16th century and not in KJV, whatever that is.
King James Version.
Oh, any living creature, including humans. Animal, A-L-E, living being which breathes, neutral of animalis, animate, living, of the air, from anima, breath, soul, a current of air, animus, and of deer, D-E-E-R, drove out the older beast in common usage, used of British humans from 1580s as an adjective attested from late 14th century. Animal rights is attested from 1879. Animal liberation from 1973. Animal magnetism originally 1784 referred to mesmerism.
Means to be mesmerized?
Yeah.
Are you getting an education? Now you know why they passed the Agricultural Adjustment Act in May 12th, 1933, which is what Public Law 7310. That's what 7310 is. It's the Agricultural Adjustment Act. Any living creature, including humans, why do you think they do a head count?
Yeah. The FDA 1906 talks about man and the other animals.
Where does it say that?
It just says, this is a question. FDA 1906. It's not defined any more than that.
Federal Okay, any more questions?
Okay, we're ready for questions now? Okay, people are asking for a criminal version of the adverse claim letter. Gene went over his adverse claim letter, I think on 5/7 or 4/30, very definitively, and apply it to a criminal situation, because you had applied your example to your Infinity account. So they're asking for examples re a criminal charge or criminal case. I want you to go over that.
You want me to go over to what an adverse claim is?
A criminal case adverse claim. The one that went out in the attachments was the Infinity adverse claim for a consumer automobile loan account. They want to see how to do a criminal adverse claim.
Well, you use it's the same principle as you do.
In other words, the prosecuting attorney charging you with a crime would become the Infinity part of the other complaint. The circumstances and the taxable liabilities do not change.
All crimes are civil.
Right.
So if you go in here, the only courts that have criminal jurisdiction are in Title 18.
Okay. So would they replace all of the civil sections in that Infinity adverse claim letter to Title 18 breaches by the court, the judge, and the attorneys?
So you got okay, read that.
District Court, Section 3231. District Courts, small d, small c, of the United States, capital U, capital S, shall have original jurisdiction exclusive of the small c courts of the big S states of all offenses against the laws of the United States, capital U, capital S. Nothing in this title shall be held to take away or impair the jurisdiction of the courts of the several states, capital S, under the laws thereof. So if you're not in district court, say you're in state court, does it matter?
Doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
District courts of the United States shall have original jurisdiction of all offenses against laws of the United States. Not United States district courts. Those are territorial courts.
Okay.
And they have jurisdiction in admiralty. Territorial jurisdiction.
So when you do your paperwork, you have to identify it, the District Court of the United States, lowercase d, lowercase c.
There's the that's what United States district courts have.
Okay, that's big U, big S, and big D, and big C, right? Or I should say capital D, USDC.
Well, it doesn't talk about that. It talks about this is what they have jurisdiction over.
Right.
So they're not an Article III court.
But if you go into the District Court of the United States, lowercase d, lowercase c, that's different than the USDC, capital.
This is what you got jurisdiction over. United States district courts.
Okay, we know how to get the DUNS number. How do we get the EIN numbers? You give them a W-9, so they give it to you.
You file a W-9, yeah. Taxpayer identification number.
Where is the where is the District Court of the United States located?
District of Columbia.
District of Columbia. Okay. Let's go back to a few more questions here that I wrote down earlier. On the pay to the order of and the redeem in lawful money, he went over that last week. All you have to do is review the webinar. He gives you the specific terminology of how to do it. You people have to do your studying and not come back with the same questions week after week.
Language is in Title 12.
Okay. You had a 22-page memorandum of law. I believe that was in one of the handouts also. But we'll review it this week to make sure. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions here. They fill out the W-9. All you got to do is give it to them. It's a $50 fine if they don't. This is about the 6th time or 8th time this question's been answered. Does Gene have an adverse claim for a criminal case? Can he provide it to the group? It's all the same format that you got a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Here's what you put in. Here's what you put in the that admonition right there.
Sugar. Excuse me, I apologize. Say that again, Gene.
There. That's what you put on the back of the when you endorse it for payment.
Redeemed in lawful money on. I can't read it, Gene. You've got it highlighted. I can't read it. They shall be redeemed in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States in the City of Washington, District of Columbia, or at any Federal Reserve Bank. That is Title 12, Section 411. That's Title 12, Chapter 3, Subchapter 12, Section 411. Issuance to reserve banks, nature of obligation, redemption. Shh. Shh. I apologize for my son's dog. Okay, so we're going to check on the 22-page memorandum of law. The adverse claim is also, Jane, we have some people that are very, very interested in the 706 and 709 forms, gift tax forms.
Okay.
People are being acted upon. The best thing that I can see after what we're talking about in any of these situations is to get that ag blain out there and get it done. Get your security agreement done and put in an ag lien on all your collateral. They won't be able to come and take anything away from you. And what about somebody that they're going to put out to pasture early because these companies are retiring people or firing them just before they get to the retirement age? What would a person do in that respect to eliminate loss of their livelihood coming in?
Put a lien on them.
Put a lien on the company for the remainder of the time until you get to retirement?
Yes.
And include any retirement amounts?
Yes.
That would be due to you during the next 30 years of your life, or 40 to including but not limited to, so that if you survive 25 or 30 years, they still have to keep paying you until you're done.
This is correct.
Understand that. I'm sure I'll have some emails this week on that.
Okay.
Some of the questions that some of you people sent me today, I told you to ask on the program here. Let me see. Here's another question. The adverse claim for getting my paid off mortgage back. Do you have an example? It's the same as the infinity letter, only your mortgage. Come on, people. What about the B5 prospectus? I sent those to you, Gene. Several people. You haven't responded to me on that. For the QSIP numbers in the B5 prospectuses.
They're in the B5 prospectus.
I know, but I sent you a listing of people that sent you information on their mortgages. Have you gotten to that yet? I know you've been terribly busy. Our plates are very, very full. Okay, but be assured that Gene has got the information. As soon as he gets a break, he'll get it to you.
We need to go up on the SEC website and learn how to do searches.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we got one final question here, Gene. If a company confiscated monthly pension 2 years after, which I put numerous cease and desist, which template is most appropriate for this unusual thief? An agricultural lien, folks. Aren't you listening?
Yeah. That would become proceeds.
Where is the infinity letter contained? I believe it was 430 or 57. I'll have to look at some of my notes and see exactly where that was. I'll look at the attachments and let you know, Tom. Okay, anything else, Gene?
No, we've covered quite a bit.
We're right at the, we've got about 5 minutes left, 7 minutes left for questions. We've done about everything we can on the agricultural lien now. Some of the handouts that people give you, that we give you, here's a question. What is a constructive trust on the judge?
What is a constructive trust on the judge? What do you mean?
The constructive trust is the trust that they create when you don't stand up and say you're the beneficiary.
They do a constructive trust in equity.
That's what they're talking about. So all you have to do is take what they do, put the conditional acceptance to prove that you are the decedent, that you are not the representative of the estate. You'll stop a court case cold. How do you get someone out of jail that they are haranguing on?
What do you mean, haranguing? What does that mean?
Well, we've got a guy in jail that they won't let speak in court. They drug him out of the courtroom backwards in chains. They're not allowing him to put any paperwork in. It's clearly a oppressive political prisoner type situation.
Where is this at? Where is this at?
In the state of Oregon. We've got another guy that the state has confiscated the wife for almost 2 years now and has taken everything away from the guy. How do you get the people away from the grasp of these so-called authorities other than to take and redeem any monetary amount in lawful money under 411 and to do a conditional acceptance of whatever they've done on every order they've done upon proof of claim? Right?
Well, I have to know what the circumstances are. Why are they in court?
Boy, that's a convoluted question. It will take you 20 minutes to answer.
Well, let's go into that next week.
Next week, okay. Those people that have those situations, write me a small 1-paragraph synopsis. What they have in this one case is a mental hold on the wife, mentally putting her in a mental institution. But write a 1 or 2 paragraph synopsis so that we can go over some of that for next week on those 2 cases. We'll get that done. I will tell everybody this week that we used a conditional acceptance on 2 cases here locally, and the state went in and dismissed both cases based on nothing more than the conditional acceptance jurat or paragraph that was put on all of the court documents. So it's very powerful to use that conditional acceptance. Let me see here. Will Gene teach us how to set up an ACH account?
Yes.
He said he would do it on March 5th. We're getting around to these subjects, folks.
We can't cover everything.
Can a citizen of the USA use a UCC?
Yes.
Has an attorney for the class action been located?
Yes.
Who is it?
I'm trying to get Mitchell Stein, but I haven't talked to him yet.
Okay. Working on Mitchell Stein. Okay. All right. On the 4490, can it be adapted for... Man, this must be the 10th time you've asked this question. I apologize. Can the 4490 be used on a tax sale certificate? It can be used against the auditor, any public servant. Gene went over all the violations, taxable violations. Go read the webinars. Go restudy them. He goes over this. Are we having a webinar next week due to Memorial Day?
Was it on?
Saturday, Memorial Day.
Well, yeah.
It's up to you students. If
What's
we have,
Memorial Day?
Huh?
That's just another holiday.
Yeah, but some people travel for the weekend.
Well, I'll leave it up to you guys.
Okay, depending on how many register this week, if we have a good showing of 30 or more people that register and get their payments in, we'll have the webinar. Otherwise, we'll go to the next week. Is that fair enough, Gene?
Yeah.
It's all up to you students. Okay, Gene, any closing comments? We're right at the end of the... I can't see any more questions that we did not answer. I'm going through all of them. People want to know how the class action paperwork is coming along, the in rem paperwork.
Well, I have to talk to Mitchell Stein first, then we'll put it in force.
Should the state provide OID for your tax contributions? That doesn't make any sense. Did you do an adverse claim on a judge?
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Did you do a constructive trust on a judge?
Yes.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, it's just a trust. You do a trust on them. Uniform trust code.
Okay, in your Sears one, what do you mean in uniform? Okay, so you actually did a claim on a UCC one against a judge?
Yes.
Do you have an example of the verbiage that would go in the collateral box?
You just list your collateral there.
Yeah, but how does that apply against a judge?
Well, you're talking about doing a lien.
Well, you're saying a constructive trust.
Well, a constructive trust is not a lien.
People are looking for the verbiage of a constructive trust. Constructive trust on a judge.
You don't do a constructive trust. You just do a trust.
On a judge.
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to put out information on how to obtain one of those trusts and what the cost will be?
Yes, I can do one.
Okay. If you're interested in trust info on a judge like that, send me an email. I'll get it over to Jean. Okay. Anything else? I'm looking here. How and when is a person paid by the lien, ag lien?
When they foreclose on it.
When the secured party forecloses on the ag lien. How do you figure an amount due on a person who's been confiscated?
When a person's been what?
Well, when a person's been yanked out of their place and stuffed in jail or a mental institution or something like that.
$1 million. $1 million per day.
$1 million per day that they have kept it. That they've been in lockup. And that's what you would put on the ag lien in a continuing manner of $1 million a day, right?
Right.
Okay.
Why are these people locked up? You're not giving us any information.
Well, they're going to give us synopsis paragraphs.
Well, you can't just say somebody's locked up. That doesn't tell me anything.
Study your webinar recordings. Are you going to show us how to do a proper promissory note?
Yes.
That's next in a later case.
We can go over that next week.
There is a new webinar study group. Send me an email on study group and I'll get you over to the study group so you can study the webinars. That's just being started this week. Can you go over IRS Form 8300 payment 10,000 or more? He went over that in a previous webinar. You don't lien a judge's bank account. You want to go to jail? That's how you get to jail. You go in after them on their tax liabilities and their tax violations. We need the constructive trust immediately.
Immediately, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what this one is. How was that number derived? Haven't any idea what you're talking about. But we're really at the end of our time for tonight. Okay, folks, we're done at the end of the time for tonight. I appreciate all your questions. And make sure those ones with the 2 cases, give me a synopsis this week. If you want the study group, send me an email under study group. We're going to try and look for the 44-page memorandum, the UCC1 attachment, the example of an ag lien on farm property. And that's all my notes, Jean, for tonight.
Okay. Love you all. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you all next week. If you want to have a class, make sure that the attendance is up. Otherwise, we'll go to the next week. Check your emails. those people you're still waiting till Friday to Saturday to get your registrations and your payment verifications. The payment verifications must be to me. The registrations must be to webinar.com. And I'm still approving people the last minute. Emails go out between Tuesday and Wednesday as to the registration link for webinar.com. But payment validations, when you send a payment to Jean, you've got to CC it to my email. It's all on the information thing that goes out to every new person. So look up those information files that I sent you. Both Jean's email, my email, Jean's phone number is listed on that information file that goes out. So let's try and get registered this week before Thursday. Don't wait till the last minute. When you're squeezing me, like we had 4 people tonight that did not get on the call because they had not validated their payments in time to get on the call. And then everybody screams at me, well, I paid for it, but I didn't get on the call. Well, you didn't get on the call because you didn't register, and even if you registered, you did not validate your payment to Maria Janet. So go back to the point of beginning and look at your actions. Aside from all that, even though I sound didactic, I really love each and every one of you people. And I love your participation. We are learning so much with this. And hope that we have answered all your questions, and make sure your questions are not redundant week after week after week. If you go back and study the previous webinars, you will get your answers. Thank you very much, and everybody have a blessed evening. Any final words, Jean?
Don't send money to Maria. Send it to me. That's why you're not getting on the classes. You're not sending the money to the right place.
And validate your payment to Maria on email. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.